Pete, you found something out, man, as we're talking about the Indiana Pacers. Go ahead and
You got it,
put
my
that
friend.
up
There you guys
for me.
go.
From Shams Charania, NBA draft deal. The Indiana Pacers are trading their number 23 pick for the rights to Mojave King to the New Orleans Pelicans for Indiana's own 2026 first-round pick, back which the Pelicans had previously acquired. So now New Orleans owns 7 and 23 selections first round NBA June 25. I come to you, Anson. Is this alarming, and does it remind you of kind of the Detroit Lions and what they were doing during the playoffs, or is this something totally separate and you're okay with a team trying to get better as they are currently in an NBA Finals?
It's totally separate. This is completely financially driven.
Appreciate
they
it.
just re-signed Miles Turner, and that's going to push them over the luxury tax for the first time in over 20 years. And with guaranteed contracts for first rounders for a certain amount of years, this allows them to push that off for another year, where they actually have $30 million coming off the books. But they are going to have a decision with Benedict Mathurin. He's going to demand a very strong.
He's been playing well in this playoff. He had some moments yesterday. I know he wished he could take back a couple turnovers and crucial moments. But he's really shown something. He's playing with a lot more confidence.
And we brought him up yesterday. This was a guy that a lot of Pistons fans lamented over passing on in favor of Jaden Ivey. I think that last year or this past season, we've seen Jaden Ivey get to a point where I believe that he is a better player offensively than Mathurin. But Mathurin is as close to a shutdown perimeter defender as you can find. He can guard 3, maybe even 4 positions. His offensive game is starting to come together. You see flashes of it. To me, he is the Pacers' Asar Thompson. So they're going to have to extend him. But what this does, it just allows them to parlay their first-round pick a further season back. You look at the Pelicans, who are really in a situation where they're going to be trading at 1 to maybe 2 players. I think that you see Trey Murphy most likely dealt. I think you see Zion on the block as well. And technically, this is a brilliant trade for the Pacers, because not only do they get to escape having to worry about the money to pay for a first-round pick that they get locked into, but you're going to get a better pick next year from the Pelicans than what you're giving up at 23 right now. You're probably going to have a lottery pick, and it might be a high one. So this is a coup trade, in my opinion, for the Pacers.
No, they're getting their own pick back that they traded.
For
to
next
the
year?
Pelicans.
Oh,
they're getting their own
that
pick.
part. Okay.
They get like pick number 26
so
back.
it's purely financial.
Right. That's all it is.
It's purely financial. They're delaying their pick this year till next
Exactly.
year, and it allows them to not have to pay even further into luxury tax.
Thank you, Maz, for realizing.
Appreciate that clarification.
Appreciate
okay.
that, Tom Maz. Let's get back into why we're really here. The conversation before we went to break. Is Tyrese Halliburton a superstar? At halftime of the game yesterday, 0 points. He finished up with 4, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. While he made some really good passes, no, he's injured. 0 points at halftime, 4 points in the game. And it's not the first time Halliburton has had a single-digit stat in the playoff. In fact, it wouldn't be. He's had more than 3, I want to say. Maz, I come to you. Is he a superstar?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Okay.
No doubt.
Explain to me, why is Tyrese Halliburton a superstar?
Just watch his playoff this year. He wants the ball. When he's 100% healthy, look what he did to the Knicks single-handedly. He torched the Cavaliers as well. I like this kid. Is he a superstar? Top of the echelon? Like, Giannis Antetokounmpo? No. But is he a step below him? Yeah. Is he on the Jalen Brunson level? Yes. I think Jalen Brunson's a superstar, but he's not in the upper echelon of superstars. There's a lot of stars in the league. He is like one step below superstardom.
So he's
but
a star.
I would take him on my team any day. I'd put him with Jalen Brunson. I know you don't like Jalen Brunson, but I know Braylon likes him.
Hold on, man. This is what we're going to do. Is he or isn't he a superstar currently right now? Is he a superstar? That's what the conversation is. And you go back to what the NBA players said. They call him overrated. You look at a bunch of things. There's a bunch of reasons why you can say either or. Is he or isn't he right now a superstar?
I still think he is.
Okay.
I do. I would love to have him on my team. I would.
Fair enough. I like it. Tom Maswell says he's a superstar. Anson, what say you?
I would not put him and Brunson in the superstar category yet. I think that they are right on the precipice of it. But being a superstar requires you lifting your team to the promised land. And I think that we've seen Halliburton do that, but we've also seen him completely crash out in 3 games in this series. 14, 15, and 4 points. That is not superstar play in any league, in any era. You look at a Willis Reed, he comes out, like you said, he scores the 4 points, but we know what Willis Reed meant in, 71 or 70?
Yep.
So,
both.
There you go. You look at what these guys have done, their body of work. I think that Halliburton has a better opportunity to truly become a superstar and a guy that they talk about as the face of the league. I think that Brunson's game is a little limited. We heard George Gervin last week talk about him holding the ball too much. There's a reason Dallas moved him. There's a reason why I don't think that the Knicks will win with him. I'd love to have both of them here in Detroit. I'm not going to denigrate them at that point, although I'd rather have Killian here so that we can have Kate. I'll take that pick over and over again. But both of those guys are right there. But in terms for me to be a superstar, you have to put your team over the top. And I guess I'm kind of talking my own point backwards because both of those guys have done that. I need to see it for more than one season.
Fair enough. Ricky, I come to you. I want to get you involved in this. Like, what do you think? You watched enough Tyrese Halliburton. Yeah. You've heard what he's said about him. Yeah. You've seen him, and you've seen some of the moments. What do you think?
No, he is not a superstar at this current moment.
I like that.
But if he takes it to Game 7 and pulls this off somehow, and he actually makes an impact, not just the team doing it, because they could do it. I won't say they couldn't do it. They could do it without him, but the game was good yesterday, and he barely played. So
if he wins that 7th game, you're right. He's anointed.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like then he's anointed. But right now, nah, he's getting there. He's on his way. He's almost there. He's something like a superstar, but he's not a superstar.
Pete, I was right the first time. What do you think? Like, this is a real conversation. I want everybody's opinion on it. Right now, it seems like he isn't the superstar based on 2-1. But what do you think?
You got to win. I mean, winning makes you a superstar. I know that sounds bad, but I mean, you can put up all the individual stats that you want, but if you're not a winner, if you're not leading your team to a win, if you're not the source, the driving force to help your team get over the hump, to make your fan base feel like they're winners. It's not just about making your stats and making yourself feel good, because now it's about your teammates and everything else. So until he's a winner, until he can prove that he can win, as we used to say, Tommy, with Sandon Millen, then that's where I think will set him apart, Braylon.
Let me ask you a question, Tom. Is John Stockton a superstar?
Say that again?
Is John Stockton a superstar, or is John Stockton just a star?
Right.
Like when he was in year 8, year 9, year 10, year 11.
Yeah, well, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Well, there's a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame.
Him and Karl Malone were a great tandem together. Yeah. I don't know if either one of them would have been as good without each other.
Stockton had a lot of single-digit scoring games. That's why I asked. Like, he was the only star that I can think of still made an impact with single-digit scoring games, and that was John Stockton.
And he made the dream team, and Isaiah didn't, right?
Yeah.
Which was not cool.
Not cool.
100%.
Still have a problem with that to this day.
Yeah.
Here's what I say about it. If you're judging it by today's era and with the times we live in, superstar, fine. Tyrese Halliburton is a superstar by those standards in terms of what he brings to the game. I mean, you talk about the 13 clutch shots that he hit out of 15. You talk about 4 All-Stars. He played in the Team USA. He's got his team in the finals. There's a lot of guys who can't say that. A lot of people can't say that. So if you want to give it to him by those terms, then fine. I won't argue you. I'll simply say this. Superstars can they can shoulder the load when it's necessary. Mm-hmm. That is what a true superstar is. When a team's not playing well, superstar finds points. He finds the assists. He finds the games to win the game. Mm-hmm. He finds ways to get his team into better situations. He finds ways to make his team better. Like, that's what a superstar is. A superstar can look at a moment and say, all right, it's on me. Kobe could do that. Jordan could do that. Yeah, the guy you don't like could do that. Carmelo could do that. Like James Harden. I'm naming some people now that haven't won. Carmelo was a superstar, and he didn't win. Mm-hmm. James Harden was a superstar. He may not play defense. James Harden was a superstar.
Still is. Even though, I mean, the numbers that he puts up in his career, he's a superstar. To me, there's a dozen superstars in the NBA. And that might fluctuate down to 10 or 14. But everybody else that's either ready to be there or has never quite been able to do it, those are stars. There's, to me, 11 superstars in the NBA right now. Got Joker, SGA, Giannis, Luka, Steph Curry, Ant-Man, LeBron, Anthony Davis, KD, Kawhi, and Harden. My number 12, really on that precipice.
Is Booker a superstar?
No. My question for you is this.
You know they have a Harden over Brunson?
Huh?
Harden over Brunson?
Well, because of his body of work. And the numbers that he's putting up still in LA with the Clippers, very, very, you can compare them very quickly to Brunson. He does it in 3 categories instead of just 2. My question for you is this. Is John Morant the 12th superstar in the NBA?
He was headed there.
Yes.
He was headed there. He found his game a little bit this year, so I think this is a year that he could put himself back in that stratosphere to get back and then let you talk about the Jazz and take. My thing is this with Halliburton. You got to be able to score points.
Yes, 100%.
Like, superstars have to score points. You cannot be a superstar dropping 9 points, 7 points, 6 points. Because he's not the first person to play hurt. And he won't be the last person to play hurt as the guy on the team. You got to find the point. It just is what it is. When it's your team, when you're the guy, you got to find the points. How many times have we persecuted Jason Tatum for falling short? And this is a guy that has actually won a chip.
Yep.
This is a guy that actually has played at a high level for his entire existence in the NBA. We still trying to figure out if he's a superstar or not. Mm-hmm. So I think if that's the conversation we're having about Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, I'm sorry, he's not there yet.
And you know, you talk about
that could change
willing
in 3
your
games.
willing your team to win and just turning it on when you know that they need it. I haven't seen that out of Halliburton except for the last shots to win games. I haven't seen him just flip
that just
the
makes
switch.
you clutch. That don't make you a superstar.
Exactly.
That makes you clutch.
100%.
There you go.
So now we've got our wall here. We've
Is
got
Joel Embiid a superstar?
man,
No.
you know,
That's where it gets
when he
hairy.
was healthy, yes.
Okay, yeah, I
When
agree.
He was healthy, yes.
I agree.
So, but then now you've got your wall, and you've got John Morant, you've got Brunson, you've got Halliburton, you've got Cade, you've got a bunch of these guys that are ready to take that step, and this is the new era of the NBA that I am truly so excited about. The fact that we're not calling Halliburton a superstar right now does not mean that he won't be one. To your point, Rick, if this guy, wins in Game 6 and goes to OKC and upsets the favorites, he's a superstar. He's anointed at that point. Tatum, I think, is right there. There's probably 20 guys that are right there that are ready to
Tatum's a
hop into
superstar.
that superstar.
Tatum's a
conversation.
superstar. I don't want to disrespect, and I don't want people jumping in. Tatum is a superstar, but the fact that it's still continued question, is he or not, was the thing I was saying.
Well, and that's a great point.
Yeah.
You can sketch him in at 12
Yeah.
and then put that wall of the Morants and the other mentions that I had where it's next. But those guys that I'm all talking about, they're all young. They're all 27, 26 or younger. So it's a really intriguing time in the NBA. I know a lot of people haven't been watching. I hope that you guys are all watching Game 6. But I hope that you guys are excited for the end of all of those superstars that I mentioned, because most of them are old, with the exception of maybe Ant-Man and maybe Luka, a couple others. I think there's going to be more superstars in the NBA in this next era than maybe we've ever seen since the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, when you got everybody from Bird to Neek to Olajuwon to Karl Malone. And no Maz, no Bray, John Stockton's not a superstar ever.
Thank you.
In my book.
Thank you.
I torch that guy's cards.
Thank
I
you.
hate his cards. I hate that man. I hate Jordan for picking him. I hate everybody else for going along with it. We love you, Zeke. Welcome home.
Well, he had to pick John Stockton because eventually they're going to have to play the Jazz, and he wanted John Stockton to be a little nicer to him.
Yeah, I've been watching.
Just jokes.
I've been watching. Yeah, I get real deep into those podcasts, but
That's
just
why I
telling
had to
old
use
school
it, yeah.
stories, and they were talking about what a dirty, grimy player John Stockton
bad. He's
was.
horrible.
What's that?
He was horrible.
Yeah, and when you're limited physically, you gotta do what you can do.
Shoot,
You gotta usually like a player like that, a guy that's a try.
Unless
he's just
they're.
if you just play against him. He's one of those guys, like, if you play against him, you hate him. Like, if he's on your squad, you love him.
I mean, you're a
Like, he's one
Danny
of those
Ainge
guys.
fan, right?
No, I hate him.
Okay, then what are you talking about?
ML
like Mark
Carr,
Price.
hate him.
What are you talking about?
Listen, I want to bring something up. Just a quick Knicks
Oh, go
story.
ahead.
I've been reading, and Well, I've been paying attention.
Do
to
they have
more.
a coach yet?
They don't have a coach yet, and they are hated in the NBA. James Dolan is the most hated owner. Leon Rose is hated. That's why people aren't doing business with him. And usually, all this kind of stuff is like kept under the table. But there's someone that's leaking all kinds of stuff on Dolan and Rose. Thibodeau, when he put out his thank you in the New York papers, he didn't thank Leon at all. The Knicks they're as good as they are, and Anson called them the best starting five in the NBA. Yeah. They're in big trouble as far as moving forward. And I know we laughed and said, hey, bring back Thibodeau, get on one knee and hey, I'm sorry, come back, blah, blah, blah. Besides him, they're going to get a coach lesser than Thibodeau. Kid's supposedly back in the mix. I don't know if he's even good. I'm just saying it's bad to a Knicks fan that how his team is looked at in the NBA.
Maz, let me ask you this question. Anson, I'll ask you as well. I know you're going to go next. If you're a head coach and you're looking for a job and you're looking at this New York Knicks landscape, you got an owner that you don't like already coming to the team. You don't like the owner. No one likes the owner. It's a reason why the other 29 don't like him. So you probably don't like him as well. You also realize the power that one player has. By the way, this one player is a 6'2" guard that can't play defense. For all the clutch stuff he gives you, for all the 45 points he gives you, he can't play defense. He's 6'2". He's undersized. That's your star player, who also's father is on the coaching staff. So now you got to deal with his godfather, Leon Rose, who also no one likes, his father, and then you got to deal with an owner in Dolan, James Dolan, that everyone hates. And you realize that you can be the next guy to take this team that doesn't play defense in the clutch to the finals just to turn around and have James Dolan say, we're looking to go in a different direction. I think everybody's looking at it that same way, like, I won't subscribe because I know what's coming.
And honestly, that's why I call them the New York peasants, because they can't get out of their own way ever. They're able to attract talent, and then they blow it up and screw it up. But then their fan base, and I'm not including the Yankee fans, I'm talking about their fan base that has this delusional insistence on their dominance in the NBA that I've never witnessed in my lifetime. They've never been dominant, ever. And so, but then you pour in all of the media, major market distraction that they have there on top of all the ownership problems that you just highlighted. That franchise is a mess.
Here you go right here. The New York Knicks are the basketball version of the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow.
The Knicks and the Cowboys are the same.
Hey,
Organizations
man, I
are
saw
trash.
good Cowboy teams in my lifetime.
I've seen good Knicks teams in my lifetime. You saw one this year.
That 94 team was outstanding.
94. The Knicks teams on it. Shoot, Allen Houston, and they got to the finals.
They're the Bengals.
Wow.
They're the Bengals.
There's another good one.
Okay.
They can't get out of their own way. They always have good talent.
Good call.
They can never capitalize on it. There's always some, problems and conspiracy and too much that's not held in-house, too much that ends up in the press, and a devoted fan base that's still eating bread. Starved for me.
Starved for me. KD. That's a topic that always leaves you
like a
hungry.
soap
too. That Slim
That
Reaper.
always leaves you hungry. This is from
He looks
Yahoo
hungry.
Sports. He does, and he still has managed to. This was the guy I used as the example. He and Giannis, when I was talking about Chet coming out a couple years back. The Suns are committed, or they aren't committed, to trading Kevin Durant to one of his preferred landing spots. Much different than the NFL, by the way, including the Miami Heat, the Houston Rockets, or the San Antonio Spurs, according to Mark Stein. So if Matt Ishbia and the Phoenix Suns, they don't want to trade him to one of his destinations, Matt, what happens now?
I don't know.
Are the Pistons still on the clock?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm joking.
No, Pistons aren't getting
I said
him.
that for Hanson.
Pistons aren't getting
that
him.
was for Hanson.
I don't know where he's going to wind up. What's the best spot for him?
Houston?
That's the best spot for him? Yeah,
Houston.
Houston is, as long as they don't have to blow up their nucleus.
Yeah, Houston.
Right? I mean, Houston is, they're like the Pistons. They are in the starting gates.
Realistically,
Might even be a half a length ahead of the Pistons.
Pistons
Jalen
West.
Green is movable. Like what I watched of him last year, I think Jalen Green is a movable piece. Maybe not this year, but at some point, he does not strike me as a forever type player yet.
All right, let me tell Pete and the fans and everybody else who's wanting KD in here why it will not happen.
I got you.
Not me, by the way.
He's 36.
He's my age.
He will be 37 in September.
Yeah.
So he will be playing next season as a 37-year-old basketball player. Now, he's a fantastic basketball player.
Yeah.
He's instant offense. I want to walk back some of my comments about how he would fit because you were right. He's fit and he's deferred and he's, taking his shots in line with the offense wherever he ends up. But he's also torn some teams apart. And when you look at who Houston is right now, whoever gets KD is only getting him for 1 year.
Yeah.
All right. Now you have to sign him. The nice thing about it is you get his rights, and you can go above the salary cap because you've acquired him through a trade.
Denver
would be intriguing. I think he ends up in Miami personally. When I look at,
But they're not going to win.
well, when I look at the other
Florida,
two
no
teams that
state
you're
tax.
talking about trading, it was there was the three teams there. It was the Heat, it was the
Spurs
Houston,
and
and the
Houston.
Spurs. So to me, Houston and the Spurs, they'd love to have him for 1 year, but to re-sign him to go at 38, 39, 40, you're committing so much money to a guy that completely flies in the face of the youth movement that you have right now. And the 1 year that you get him in, so like, let's say we bring him into Detroit, right? Now, everybody that has figured out their role with this team, a Jaden Ivey who's finding his role with this team, they all take a back seat for 1 year. Our offense is completely different for 1 year. And although it might give you more wins, if this guy doesn't choose to stay with you or you're not willing to pony up what it costs for you, now you lose him. You lose all the capital that you sent to get him. And now your whole team's chemistry and offensive flow is going to go right back to what it was the year before. I think that's a detriment to the San Antonio Spurs. I think that's a detriment to the Pistons. And I think that's a detriment to the Houston Rockets because these are three of the best young core teams in this new era NBA.
I have breaking news. We have to rewind the show 5 minutes. So it looks like Tyrese Halliburton is believed to have suffered a strained right calf, according to Shams Charania. He's going to undergo an MRI. This obviously courtesy of Shams Charania, and shout out to JB who brought this to my attention just recently.
We knew this. They had talked about it during the game, so this is really just this is good news. In fact,
Gotcha.
They were thinking that it might be something bigger.
Just wanted to bring that up.
This just tells me that he's going to play. But back to the Durant thing.
There's a problem with that.
Go ahead.
There's a problem with that. And you're talking about a person that the problem derives from. Remember when KD only had a calf strain, and then it turned into an Achilles?
Oh yeah, I do remember.
It was the same thing. He had a calf
He
strain.
shouldn't have played in the second half. He shouldn't have played in the second half.
And that's why I asked the question initially. Should he have even played in that game?
No, he shouldn't have played in the second half, and they're going to lose this series. He's not healthy enough to guide them. We saw it last night. The guy just is playing on 1 foot, and they've also figured out how to defend him. So, that series is over. I told you